Welcome back to the People's Cabinet. So, how is it that we have somehow gotten used to and accepted this masked men arresting people in the streets? Let me be very clear. This is not something that ICE has done in the past. And, this is just dramatic partisanship. This is new. This face covering stuff is new. So, we were discussing this on MSNBC this weekend, and I said the following.
Another testament to how psychologically conditioned we've become, right? Somehow we find it acceptable in society now that law enforcement are wearing full masks, tackling people in the streets with no clear identification in America, right? People were saying that people were being dramatic about Donald Trump coming back, and this is what's happening in our streets. What I'm hearing in Boston, too, is that people are walking around now with their papers in their pocket.
Yeah, it's happening in D.C.
I have Arab-American friends, I'm half Lebanese, who are walking around who are Melkite Catholic, who are walking around with a crucifix because they are afraid that ICE is going to racially target them for their faith. This is what's happening in our country right now. And so for all the people who said that Donald Trump wouldn't do these things, take a look in the mirror and turn on the TV, and it's exactly what he's doing.
Again, I have friends who are Christian, Arabs, who look Arab, who are wearing their crucifix because they think it might make them less likely to be targeted. I have people walking around with their papers because they're worried about being racially targeted in America. And somehow we just continue to gloss over this every single day. And there are a couple of things that continue to be concerning here. The president has very vocally talked about how he plans to expand his reach of people coming into cities on the guise of crime fighting, right? So even MAGA in the past has said that he wasn't going to do that, but it seems like it's very clear that he is doing it now. Let me play this clip from my conversation with Tommy Loren, for example.
And I think also he's showing an incredible amount of restraint for all the Democrats that are saying, oh, don't come to our city. He's saying, like, I want to be invited. I'm not just going to go. I would like Chicago. I would like Illinois to say, hey, we need you. And then I will provide the resources. I think that is a pretty decent approach.
Do you think he will respect that? Do you think he won't come to Chicago unless Mayor Johnson invites him? Or Governor
Well, Mayor
Pritzker?
Johnson is never going to invite him, and I don't think Pritzker is either, because it's become such a political issue, and I think that's what it goes back to here. Yeah. I think, to your other point, I think if there could be some collaboration on crime instead of either side just trying to win on it, I think we'd all be better off. But unfortunately, these cities have gone for so long without addressing it, and the way that they've been addressing it, especially in Illinois, is like they were the first state in the country to be like cashless bail free for all. To me, if you're not addressing your problem, I think that President Trump will wait for the invitation, but I don't know why these states are putting up such a fight to try to preserve crime.
I think that if you talk to Mayor Bowser, she would tell you where she thought the best use of those resources were.
So I was very skeptical of Tommy's assertion that the president was going to wait for an invitation. And candidly, I was correct. So an August 28th article, ICE planning major operation in Chicago as soon as next week. Trump administration is making plans for an immigration crackdown. CNN New York Times reported, comes after Illinois Governor and J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson criticized the plans. 200 Department of Homeland Security officials, et cetera, et cetera. Chicago's violent crime is reportedly down 22% compared to a year ago. So this is not an invitation from Mayor Johnson and Governor Pritzker. In fact, quite the opposite. Mayor Johnson has been very vocal about the fact that he does not want Donald Trump and his ICE agents in Chicago. It is quite the opposite. This is a politically motivated push to try to make Mayor Johnson, Governor Pritzker, and others seem ineffective, and Donald Trump's going to come down on high, and save the city. There's a larger thing here that is completely and utterly concerning. There is a call for Donald Trump as a result of the big, beautiful bill for 10,000 more ICE agents. Stephen Miller, Donald Trump's advisor, has talked about how he is setting quotas for ICE. So if you think this is bad, it's only going to get worse. And I want to say one other thing about masked men, because people's argument is, oh, they're getting doxxed. No one should dox anyone, okay? But to compare them to a protester is a completely different argument. ICE agents have the ability to take a life with the firearm that they carry. They have the ability to dramatically alter someone's life by arresting them, by putting them through the justice system, by, in the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, deporting him without any due process. I believe that that means they have a much higher standard to abide by, and that means showing your face while you're doing these things. Because I think any objective person, Republican or Democrat, would feel pretty uncomfortable with a masked person coming to their door and taking them away and cooperating and acting like everything is okay, right? There's this argument on the right, oh, well, if only you cooperate. You're seeing people who refuse to show their faces trying to come after you. I think every person would have expressed concerns of feelings about this, especially especially this narrative around civil liberties that I thought that Republicans cared a lot about, are literally being eroded right in front of our eyes. So let's keep an eye on what's going to happen in Chicago. I am sure that Trump will expand this to other cities. And with 10,000 ICE agents going on around the country, right? In this case, we were talking about 200 Department of Homeland Security officials. Imagine 10,000. This happening all over the country. You're going to see a lot more masked men. You're going to see a lot more people suffering. You're going to see a lot more people wrongly detained. I want to say again, before people start to, write these comments, if you have committed violent crimes, if you are a felon, you should be deported. If Kilmar Abrego Garcia goes through the justice system and he is proven to have human trafficked, he should be deported. But for the nonviolent, especially the dreamers in this country, the children who came here through no fault of their own, what the hell are we doing? We got bigger things to worry about. None of this is making groceries more affordable. Those are the things that we need to focus on as Americans and not Donald Trump's grandstanding. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The People's Cabinet. If you did, please like, subscribe, ring that bell, and tell us who else you would like to see sworn in. And let us know in the comments what other topics you'd like us to cover. Let's go.